All right, let's take a quick peek at function translations. We're going to start with the function f of x equal to the absolute value of x. What we know about this function is that when we input -4, we get the absolute value of -4 for the output, so we get 4. When we input -3, our output is 3, and so on. So each one of these input-output pairs is represented by a point on the graph. When we're talking about translations, we're looking at something like this. What happens if we take that function and we add 2 to it? Right? So instead of just the absolute value of x, which is what f of x is, now we have the absolute value of x plus 2. What is that going to look like in our table, and what is that going to look like on our graph? Well, in the table, it's going to take each one of those outputs, and it's going to add 2 to it. So where we had the input -4 giving us +4, now we're going to have that +4 plus 2. So when we input -4, we get 6. 4 plus 2. When we input -3, we're going to get 5. 3 plus 2. And that is what's going to happen for all these. So take a moment, pause the video, and fill in the rest of these if you can. All right, now that you're back from that pause, let's take a look at what we should have. We should have 4, and then 1 plus 2 giving us 3, 0 plus 2 giving us 2, and then 1 plus 2 giving us 3, and then 2 plus 2 giving us 4, and then 3 plus 2 giving us 5, and 4 plus 2 giving us 6. So now here's the interesting question. What is this adding 2 going to look like? Well, we're essentially increasing each of our outputs by 2. We know that in the coordinate plane, our outputs are represented by our vertical location. So one of the ways that you can think of this is we're taking our vertical location for every single place on this graph, on this function, and we're increasing it by 2. So where before we had 0, 0, now we've got 0, 2. Before we had 1, 1, now we've got 1, 3. Before we had 2, 4, now we've got, sorry, 2, 4, before we had 2, 2, now we have 2, 4. Right? So what we can see from this is that when we add 2 to the outside of our function, when we add it after the function is applied, effectively what happens is every single point on our function, our entire function, moves up. It shifts up from the original position by 2 units. So we would describe this as a shift up by 2 units.